Morning. Today's going to be Game 10. This is a 25 NL game. It's on a different site, so it's mostly like a 10 NL on ACR in terms of the quality players. Yeah, we do have some players here that are pretty good. It's decent, I'll say. They look pretty decent. They could play at higher limits. They usually see them at the higher limits, but occasionally they'll come down because the game selection just isn't that great. So I check, or I fold. We're under the gun. We get a limp here, button limps, small blind limps, big blind checks. So these hands could be difficult to analyze. Hard to put people on hands when they don't really bet, but I think we can definitely exclude some hands because there was no pre-flop raise. So this player is definitely a passive player. We've got hands on him. Doesn't look like he is too aggressive with raising. My guess is probably queens or kings plus ace kings could be a pre-flop raise. He does have 3-bet range. Queens, kings. It looks like tens and ace king. Those 3-bets could be coming from some of the blinds, but overall, you could see that he is definitely, not very high. Early position hasn't raised first in yet. It's 3% at mid position. That's about it. So does not look like he's very aggressive. Put together a range like this, I assume kings plus ace king. Maybe queens. That brings us down to 19.6. I think queens, for a player like this who doesn't really raise, that's a good question. What would he do? Yeah, I think I'll probably. Well, we have a limped and re-raise with queens, so that's why. It's probably like sometimes he does it, sometimes he raises, sometimes he limps. So we could put a percentage on. We'll just leave it in. All right, and he also had, I believe, ace king in there too, limp and re-raised. Yep, ace king suited. So there's definitely some possibility that he has those, but we'll leave him out. Next guy is 57-0. He's on the button. I think this is the guy who really loses a lot of his top hands. I think most players on the button are going to be raising here. We only have 24 hands, so that makes it interpretation harder, but he's played 57% so far. So over half of the 24 that he has played. And it's basically 50% just right across the board. So I would assume he's going to be raising something 9s plus, ace jack plus suited, king jack plus suited, queen jack, jack 10 suited, and then ace queen off plus. I think that's probably a raising range. And then I'm going to give him like suited aces, suited kings, other suited hands, gappers, and so forth. And then ace x, king x, just a limp. That guy, I mean, we need the range to get us up higher. I guess we could throw in a queen 8, but we're going to go with buttons range like that. Small blind is actually pretty tight, so only played 4% over 49 hands. That's just, I mean, he could be really tight, or he could just not get the cards. I didn't have the cards yesterday, so on one of the tables, I think I was like 3 or 4% VPIP over like 50 or 60 hands. It's just the opportunity didn't present itself to raise with junk, and I didn't really get any decent hands, so it's just a lot of folding for the situation for the table. So I think the player like this with that looks tight and is in the small blind, when they limp, I'm thinking pocket pair. That's what I'm really thinking. So I've got pocket pairs. I'm going to assume queens plus ace king raises. I'm going to give him suited cards. We already have 2 limps, so he might come along with suited. If not, then we basically get rid of these hands, and he just plays with them. And actually, let's do that. Let's keep this tighter. Brings it under 10%. That might be more in line with what a small blind limper might do. especially a limper that looks to be tight. And then our big blind 48-22. He's got any two cards. The question for us was raising. Would he limp with previous raisers, or would he raise? We have one time where he's raised, so that kind of tells me that he is capable of raising with decent cards. I'm going to say Queens plus Ace King. Again, we don't know what what his raising range is, but he did limp, so he's got every possibility of every single card in there. All right, so we see a flop of 4-2-2. Nothing that was super stellar. And it checks through. So, tight player. Again, we're looking at like leads. No one really has the lead, so you're not going to really have a donk bet. Could c-bet it, or you can't c-bet it either because we don't have aggression. So it's just kind of in a limped pot, who's going to take the lead? Villain 3, I'm going to leave. So the small blind, I'm going to leave basically everything in his hand, thinking that if he had a decent hand, he may just check call, check raise. Big blind, same thing. He's got a very wide range here. So I think he would lead with anything. Probably not. Our loose passive, probably not. But once you get to villain, to the button, I think at this point you're probably looking at I think quads would even bet here in this case. Bet small, try to get called. I think full house would bet small, try to get called. I mean, there's two hearts. It doesn't make sense to, like, with three other players in the pot, it doesn't really make sense to slow play this. Go ahead, bet. Hope somebody has something they can call you with. Even if it's just a heart draw. Start trying to build a pot. That's my thought. So same thing with, I think, 3 of a kind. I think an overpair probably bets. Well, the overpairs aren't too strong, so let's scale those a little bit. Say 50%, and we're going to do that same thing with the top pair. These aren't like super strong hands. They're not super strong hands by any means. Flush draw. Kind of think nut flush draw would probably bet. We're going to do that, and then we just want to make sure that these get X'd out. All right. So we did narrow at least one range. We should be able to start narrowing ranges on the turn too. So, all right, so they all checked. So we're gonna go back to small blind. At this point, I think full house bets. I think quads bets. He's going. Okay, he would go for value. His overpairs betting definitely. At this point, he's trying to protect. I think top pair's probably betting here. Probably the weaker hands are not, and I'm going to include the flush draw for him too. So we've just really dropped his range. So it is fairly weak at this point. Maybe still a pair, but that's about it. I think I'm going to do the same thing with him. I just kind of feel like a full house 3 of a kind is probably going to be betting. Overpairs betting. Top pairs probably betting with the 9. Weaker kickers we'll include in there. Uh, 9-6. Yeah, I guess we'll include like the weak kicker hands, weak kicker hands. I think we're gonna leave flush draw, open enders. We're gonna leave all of those. So again, his range just got, became weaker. Still has a lot of junk hands in his range. Same thing at this point. I think quads and full house are betting. Three of kinds betting. Over pairs betting at this point. I do think top pairs betting. However, this villain, since he is passive and he looks to be passive, we're going to include top pair, and we're going to include his draws, everything. And then our last player, we've already started narrowing the range. So yeah, top pair I'm going to take out. We'll leave all of that. All right, so we get to a river, 4 of diamonds. All right, so we got a bet, and then we have a bet and a call. So this is the small blind, and then the button. So he bets. Possibly an ace high hand, maybe, or pocket pair. With the board pairing like that, if he has a pocket pair, he has a better 2 pair. He's going for just I mean, the pot's 4, so I'm not gonna say wow, pot size bet that's big. It's 4 big blinds. That's it. I will say pocket pair below top pair. I'd say a 4, but would he have? Yeah, I don't have 4s in there. I wouldn't have a 4 unless he plays ace 4. In which case, yeah, maybe he has something. So we're gonna go with that, just like basically a pocket pair. And then this guy is, I think full house raises this. So I think you're looking at pocket pair or ace high for that call. And we'll leave the other ranges here. So he shows 4-3, so I did not have that in his range at all, and he shows ace 5. So he did show his ace high hand. 4-3 off, I did not have. So in this guy, I guess we have limp behind 2 players. Limp in small blind, behind 2 players with 4 clubs, 3 of hearts. Then he is out of position 4-way. Check, that 100%. Whoops. Two hearts, 2 of diamonds, 9 of spades, 4 of diamonds. All right. So we have this player. And this guy, limp in button behind EP2 LFI with ace 5 of diamonds. He is in position 4-way. Check, call 100%. All right, got those. This guy threw me off. Definitely. He limped. I mean, that's what it is. Just didn't have that in his range. He decided to play it. His stats don't look like it, but I guess he had something to play and was tired of sitting around folding, I guess. Or he's played with these players and know that they're loose, that this guy's passive, this guy's loose. I don't know. This guy should have definitely raised pre-flop. If he raises pre-flop, he gets him out, no problem. Has the initiative. On this board, he could lead with this gut shot. Probably picks up the pot. I don't fault him for calling on the river. It's 4 big blinds. I would be thinking that he's got some sort of pocket pair based on his, VPA, PF4. And again, as I said, maybe he's got a 4, but I didn't have that in his range. Didn't make sense for his stats. But again, he could just not be getting any cards this session, or when he does get some playable hands, it's a bad situation. There's a raise and a 3-bet, and he just folds. So I'm not going to really say much. This is the limp pot. It is what it is. We worked through it. We kind of saw how they play. We added some more notes to this player, and that's about it. So it's a limped pot. Somewhat boring, but I think on the end we kind of get an idea that we're not going to see like a massive hand, a major hand, because I think players bet those. All right, so hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another.